All right, guys. Hey, first of all, last day going into holiday break, and I'm gonna start with that. We mentioned this on the call just a few minutes ago. Guys, you got to stay in communication. You got to stay in communication. People are gonna be traveling or spending time with family, and they will forget about, the product or service you provide them. So find ways today to make sure you communicate what's going on in your business. Find a way to communicate during the holiday break, even if you just got to pre-schedule it. So communication is the key to every relationship. I'm sure all the guys on this call, you've heard that from your girlfriend, if your wife at some point in your life, right? Communication is the key to a great relationship. So same thing with your customer base. Make sure you communicate. Now, what happens when you communicate, guys? When you send emails out, what happens is some people are gonna be like, stop sending me emails. Okay. You got to remember, guys, a lot of y'all right now, if you pull up your inbox, you've got so many emails that you don't even check. Some of you guys, like, you don't even look at them. You're getting these emails sent to you all the time, and you don't send a message back because you just move on to the next thing. That's how most people operate. Someone willing to respond back to you to tell you to take off the list, those people are not your customer. They're not going to be. But what most people do is you stay in front of them. You're not doing ask all the time. You're not saying, hey, give me your business, give me your business, give me your business. You're giving them some kind of information or content related to about who you are and what do you do. And you stay in front of them consistently. So when they become a buyer for your service, your product, you're the first top of mind. Everybody is a buyer. They just might not be buying your service or product right now. If you market yourself to them correctly about who you are and what do you do and the problems that you solve, if you're great at understanding the problems that you solve, those problems will come up in their life at some point. And it might not be for them. Okay. It could be for someone they know personally, right? So if you're teaching martial arts and you talk about how you can solve the focus issue with kids, maybe it's their cousin, maybe it's their niece, right? So like you've got to stay consistent with that messaging. So right now, before we go on the holiday break, just make sure that for your client list, you've done a great job of communicating about what's going on during the break. So some people might show up on a Friday or Saturday, and if the door's locked, they might be a little upset. So make sure just communication is super, super key there. Okay. Next, I want to talk about that summer months in any business. All right. Unless you're in the tourism business, summer months can take a dip because people are probably taking their money and spending it on that trip or on fireworks. I heard a lady last night say that she spent $500 on fireworks. And I was asking her how many people are coming over. She was like, that's just me and my one friend. Like, that's a lot of money spent on fireworks for a little party. Okay. And like this lady didn't seem like she makes a lot of money. So that's probably like all her discretionary income for the month. Right. When we were talking today about like trying to get 200 or 250 or $300 valuation monthly, and this lady drops one time $500. Now, if she does that for July 4th, she probably does that maybe for the first of the year. So maybe it's $1,000 for the year. It's $100 a month on fireworks for quick entertainment that lasts a few minutes. And most of you guys on this call right now are making lifelong impact into a child. So where's the valuation? $250, $300 a month. It should be pretty easy. Okay. So if you're having a hard time with that, it starts with your product has to improve. I'm gonna push this all month. You got to sometimes stop thinking about dollars and thinking about how does your product get better. Last night I was teaching on the floor in Vegas at Sarah School, and I was hard, not mean, with the kids there. Now, what's the difference? Okay, mean is somebody who's just sometimes barking commands, just coming off the tough guy. Okay, making them do push-ups, just for no reason, no education, just throwing a bunch of stuff out there. I didn't do that. I was hard because when they did not start correctly, I said, nope, that's not our standard. Go back and do it again. I believe if I went and watched your alignment procedure in your martial arts school, most of you guys don't have a strong standard. Now, what is a standard? Okay, these are things you guys should be documenting right now. If you're the owner in your business and you watch a class tonight and then you watch it next Monday, if it's different, you don't have a standard. Now, different doesn't mean they don't have a different process. Maybe they start, they do army lines, run up one time, they do something different the next time. That's not what I'm talking about. A standard is when it's not done correctly, you make them do it again. That's a standard. When they're not wearing the right apparel, there's a standard. And there has to be an education with that. So yesterday, the class did not line up with any kind of excitement or energy or discipline. And how you start determines how you're going to finish. And you either have always or nevers. And one thing that she's going to work on in that school is we have to have a higher standard of how we start. We have to start hard, okay, with the discipline, because a parent is paying you to do the things they don't want to do. The parent doesn't want to be the tough guy. They want someone else to do the hard work. That's why they pay you. Learning how to kick is actually way down on the list of what they really want from you. So they did not line up right, and they probably haven't really been taught. And so I held a standard, and we did it until it was correct. Then when we're punching, there was a lot of this going on. And almost every kid has their guard right here. That means no one's coming up to them and just give them a little pop on the hands there to kind of give them a wake-up call. Not to hurt them. You're not trying to hurt them, but yet you're trying to get them to understand this is not protecting yourself. And when you have ranking systems and people move up in belts and the kid's not corrected, when the kid is not corrected, what does that kid think? The kid thinks it's correct because they weren't told it wasn't. And so then they start punching and they're hitting with their pinkies, or even worse, we're hitting bags and they're doing this and no one corrects it. They think it's right. And no wonder it's hard to ask for money at a $300 or $400 valuation monthly, right? Which is $5K a year, $4K a year, depending on your market, is because the parent who's not an expert will look at their kid and see that their kid is taking it a little low, taking it a little easy. And the ones that stay are the ones who just are too lazy to quit, or they like something about you personally, or maybe you're just convenient and they got nothing else going on. So how can you improve your product and how can you improve your service? This is what you guys should ask yourself every single day. We talked about today with some of our calls. If you either have always or nevers, if you have a private Facebook group, if your instructor is not posting 365 days minimum, that means once a day, every day, even on Christmas, yes, then you have a never. If it's not always, it's a never. Now, why would you want to post every single day? Is because you have to stay relevant, top of mind. That is give information, give information, give information. There's really no ask inside that Facebook group. It's a way that you stay communicative, and that's a way that your client base trusts you as the expert. So what kind of things would you post? You educate your people about, hey, first belt martial arts is not white belt, it's actually a black belt. That's setting a tone of culture. You maybe do a physical video of teaching how to do a self-defense technique. Last night we worked on back falls because I believe it's one of the #1 self-defense techniques you can teach. It's more likely that everybody on this call right now is going to slip and fall at some point in your life more than someone trying to punch you in the face. And if you, by the way, if we're in a fight and I try to take you to the ground, I am trying to smash your head to the ground. If you don't know how to protect your head, you're in trouble. And when I'm teaching kids, I never let their head ever hit the floor, even when they do sit-ups, because I do not want to set a bad habit. I tell them the only time their head can touch anywhere on the ground is when it's on their pillow at home. Anytime else, protecting your head is the #1 thing you got to do. Head on a swivel, pay attention to your environment. So your product has to improve. And as the owner, you should be asking yourself, how can you incrementally improve the product 1%, 5% every single day? I shared something on Instagram today. Dana White has the Bruce Lee quote. He says at his house and in his gym. Basically saying to the fact that your only duty as a man or a woman in life is getting up every single day and be better today than you were yesterday. Your business matters too. And so like if your line of procedure with your martial arts kids is not disciplined, if you don't have that, if you don't start that way, if it doesn't start with energy and you don't stop the class and go fix it, you don't have a standard. And so you're not teaching discipline. And so when a mom walks in and the mom comes in, not to make her kid a world champion. The kids that are competitors inside your school, they didn't walk in the door wanting to be that. They wanted to become that once they learned how they love martial arts, because you helped them get to that level. They walked in the door because mom's like, man, my kid's got a hard time focusing at school, or he's getting bullied. Or maybe he doesn't belong doing sports because he's an outlier, right? He doesn't connect that way. He doesn't have focus at school. He doesn't have confidence in himself. There was a reason, and martial arts was a vehicle for that. But then you fell short of actually teaching that discipline that mom really wanted, or that respect. And so you can be hard without being mean. You can be hard without being mean. Yesterday, the kids were doing their punches like this on the bag, and I stopped them and I got them into a mat chat. And it's an important thing to even know how you do a mat chat, right? Some of you guys have TVs on your mat, which is probably not the best process ever to have TVs on the mat, but I understand why you guys do, because you kind of had to, whatever. It's not really smart to have that. And the rule is, if you have a TV, it should be on. Otherwise, why have it? A lot of people just have a TV on and never have it on. But yes, it's a distraction. I leverage that distraction to help me teach. Okay, just like mirrors. Everybody thinks you're supposed to face the mirrors. The mirrors are not for the students. The mirrors is for the instructor to be able to see the whole floor when you're there by yourself. There's a missing piece of the education. But I would leverage where the TV is, and I would make kids get locked up right in front of me, and they don't have to look at me knowing the TV's behind me, because I'm testing them. I'm like, hey guys, I know you're looking at TV right now. And because you need to test your students every single day. There was a kid yesterday who was very talkative, playful at the very beginning. There was another kid in the same class who was bawling, crying right at the beginning of class. And I'm not going to I'm going to throw her a little bit to the fire here, okay? So she come back from the ashes herself. But one of the things that Sarah did, she kind of coddled a little bit the little kid. And I actually walked away because the kid's in a black gi. And I know what that means. I don't care if the kid's 4 or 6 or 12. It doesn't matter, because I don't see age. I see martial arts kid. I see a martial arts student. And I see an opportunity for me to grow someone. Now, both these kids, the talkative kid and the one that was all crying, 30-something minutes later, when they're leaving the floor, they completely were different people. Because one of the kid, the talkative kid, I think his name was Liam, but he went by a name called Ace. I don't know where that comes from, but he was a talkative kid. He's a good kid, okay, fairly new student. But there was a drill that he was playing around with. And I stopped the class, and I had a one-on-one with him in front of everybody. I says, hey, what's your name? He's Ace. I'm like, no, what's your real name? Liam. Okay, hey, but you like going by Ace? I said, Ace is a pretty cool name. It's a great name, man. It sounds cool. It sounds tough. But I don't think you're really acting like an ace right now. I don't think you've earned that name right now based on how you're behaving in this class. So if you want me to call you that name, I need you to step your game up a little bit. I was having a heart-to-heart, one-on-one with everyone listening. Guess what? He rose to the occasion. He earned that name back. It was important to him. Okay? So you have to test your people every single class. If you're a great communicator, if you're a great teacher on the floor, you're not running an exercise class. Your product has to improve. And every kid needs a correction, either on a physical skill or their behavior, every single class, because that's what your moms and your dads are paying you for. So where is your product improving? Or you mailing in the class. And so when you have a hard time closing a deal, it's because, to be honest, your product isn't where it needs to be. So owners, the first thing you should be looking at every single day is physically, what can you do for your space to improve? All right. Organization of that mat yesterday was not set up for a successful class. Few things. The blinds were blocking. I need to be able to see. If I'm maestro on the floor, I've got to be able to see people walking in. I don't care if it's roasting them, or we can solve that a different way. I got to be able to see someone, because I need to be urgent to serve my people. So when that kid's coming in late, hey guys, you got to get to the floor. You got to get to the floor. I need to know we have a standard. I don't let people come into class late. Discipline. Start hard, finish easy. You either have always or nevers. Okay. I don't need the bags in the way, so I can't do lineups. I don't need the cards. I don't need the chairs in the way. So I set up the process to have a successful day of classes. Also, your schedule, guys, your schedule sometimes is a limiting opportunity. You should be looking. I looked at my class schedule every single month. I only change it twice a year, but every month I'm evaluating, how do I improve it to make it better? You don't want gaps in classes. You do not want gaps in times. You have a limited amount of time to make your money in your business. And you need to ride the energy train, because it only lasts for a period of time. So that's one thing as an owner. Next thing is, I watch my team. How fast do they interact? When someone walks in, how quick are we getting to them? Are we teaching discipline even before they step on the floor? And pay attention. Sarah, you can vouch for me. Look at the moms and dads while someone's teaching class. Are they on their devices, or are they right here inside the palm of the hand of the person teaching the class? So that's when you know you have a great product or great service. I was at Wayne School a few months ago, wasn't even teaching, okay? And I look forward to going there and teaching classes there. And I just happened, we're doing some video shooting, they're doing a demo practice, and I saw some things I needed to correct. I was trying not to, but I just had to, because it just wasn't going to get where it needed to get to. And I was paying attention. I could see the moms doing the same thing. You've got to be a dominant person of discipline. Be hard, but not mean. Because hard is you have a standard and you always test them and you let them know when they've passed the test. So when that kid earned his name back, I was like, man, that's it. Now you're an ace. Let's go. You want them always leaving sweating and smiling. And because they grew directly in front of you. These other two kids that were there, the grandparents are in the audience. When they said they were grandparents, I reacted in a way. I was like, what? Grandparent? No way. Because honestly, they looked young for grandparents. Like, I'm bringing the audience into the class at all times. I'm controlling the environment. Your product's got to improve. And you do that because you got to make sure your product isn't just for the kid on the floor. It is for the people who are actually spending the money for that kid to be there. But those two kids right now have a great opportunity to go to the next level because they are in a high emotional state. So when we talk about the sales funnel, greet someone. Okay, the greet can start on a phone call. It can start when they walk in your door. Then you fact find. You don't just pitch them what you want to sell them. You need to ask questions. So when they come to you, hey guys, what do you do? They're in control of the conversation. You're not going to win. You've got to be able to go to them and say, well, what is it actually looking for? Oh, well, we're looking for martial arts for my daughter. Okay. Well, why are you looking for that? Oh, well, we heard it's good for discipline. Okay, it is. Absolutely. I'm with you. Hey, but why now? Why now? I need to know why now. Why not 6 months ago? There's something that's triggered it. That's important information to know. Then I'm going to give a demonstration of our services, our product. Okay, an orientation, a demonstration, an intro, whatever process you guys have. Then take them through your sales funnel. Then you get to the close. When you're in the close, you don't go back to selling, right? That was in your demonstration. And then whether you sell them or don't sell them, you play the follow-up game. And I know nobody on this call is an expert at follow-up, because the follow-up doesn't stop after you've sold them. Okay. The follow-up after you sell them should continue. The follow-up when you don't sell them should continue until they sign or whine. Because if you believe that you have the right product or service that's going to impact your community, and you're constantly trying to improve your product so you have the best product. Listen, if I literally stayed at that location for the next 6 months, Sarah becomes the assistant, I'll become the main instructor, I wouldn't spend any money on advertising. I would spend no money on marketing. I would take those kids that are in there and I would just teach amazing freaking classes like I did yesterday. And by the way, while I was teaching the class, I was teaching Sarah because I was making corrections in front of her students, not to hurt her, to build her up in front of them. Okay. I don't want fake martial arts. I want real deal martial arts. But you can do that where it's still engaging and fun. Those kids were having fun and they were learning, because we're an education place. I would spend no money on advertising, no money on marketing. I would just work on improving the service and improving the class and improving the product until those students currently there, without me even having asked, start bringing people to me because the product is that good. You can grow your business organically if you just improve the product and service, and you guys are spending too much worry about your advertising or trying to always close a deal because you need money, but really your product's got to get better. So physically, the location, how can it be better? And then your actual product, how can it improve every single day? That should be main focus, okay? All right, next. Speaking of which, August 10th and 11th, it's a Saturday and a Sunday. Me personally, 4 hours each day, 8 hours of me on a martial arts floor, doing exactly those things I'm talking about verbally. I am actually going to teach classes to you and your staff. If you're an owner, you're going to put on a gi and get on the floor. Oh, I don't do martial arts. If you own a martial arts school, you're going to do some martial arts with me. I flew to Israel last year with Cameron and Travis, and I made the gurus there that own the businesses there, get on the floor with us and take martial arts with us. Okay. And he's like, no, I'm too old. No, I don't care. And I started hitting him. Right. We ain't playing around. We're going to do martial arts. You invested in us being here. You invested in the time and energy. You want your kids learning. You're learning too. So if you're the program director, you're a sales manager, you're the instructor, you're an assistant. And if you got assistants who are going to run a school for you, you get them there too. You get 4 hours of me teaching on a Saturday, 4 hours of me teaching on a Sunday. All right. And everyone's going to be on the mat. No one's going to sit in a chair. This is not martial arts classes, sweat your butt off. This is designed to create engagement, excitement, retention, because the best people train the most. You want the best damn staff, they need to train every day. They need to role play how to do a class. They need to role play how to do a lineup. And I don't see any school doing it great. Because if you don't start with discipline, you don't end with discipline. And how are you supposed to get a $300, $400, $500 value every month from someone if you don't have that consistently? And I guarantee I can almost look at everybody's school right now and see that you have broken culture and you don't even recognize it because you haven't seen it at a high level. Travis talks about this all the time. He ran a school longer than me. He walks into my school and he's like, oh, instantly I see the difference here. I see what I'm doing differently than you. Culture's different automatically. Okay. At ATL, baby, Atlanta, Georgia. ATL. Easy flight in, easy drive in, hop on there. Okay. It's a Saturday. We're going to start in the afternoon. So depending on where you're coming from, you can leave Saturday morning. We start at 2 o'clock on Saturday afternoon. Sunday, we're going to go from 10 to 2. I've got a special treat for some of you guys who you probably already knew about that. Okay. So Ben and Cheryl, that's one of you guys. And then on Monday morning, select client list, you guys, a little 2-hour just mastermind with me. Okay. But 8 hours of martial arts training with me. I'm going to talk about weapons training. It's one of the best retention tools, and most of you guys are doing it okay, but not amazing. All right. I'm telling you right now, and by the way, you have 50 spots total. That's it. 50 spots. And so like, make sure you guys understand, like, I'm going to show you the stuff I'm talking about now. I'm going to show you to you and your team, and we're going to role play it. The best train the most. This is what I did every single day with my team. Okay. All right. So be there. And I do need that commitment fast from you guys because I am going to sell tickets to the martial arts community outside of the people, all right, that are on this call with us right now. And then get your whole team there. All right. All right. Next. When you do need to make money, obviously we need to make money. It gets easier when your product's better. And you don't need 14 gimmicks going on. You need one little thing that you're doing, focus on for the month. You need one marketing campaign or idea. Now, better when you market quarterly. You have a quarter goal or target. You have one mission. Hey, this month our goal is, or this quarter, excuse me, is we're going to improve our student body by 100 people, or we're going to improve this program by 50%. You pick kind of a 90-day North Star and you go all in on that approach. And then every month you can have a different way you market that internally and externally, but you're not trying to make things up on the fly. Okay. Dan yesterday didn't hit his target, but he did end up having basically a $10,000 day. It's pretty awesome by sending an email out. But it only works when you have a high value floor or a high value product or a high value service. So I'm going to keep pushing on the idea that I know that the reason why most martial arts schools, the reason why most dance schools, gymnastics schools fails because they might start off with a great product and service because they're excited, but then they get complacent and they don't keep looking for the improvement there. And it has to constantly work towards improvement. Okay. All right, so next, I'm going to read this to you guys. You know, tomorrow is Independence Day. I love the country that I live in. You know, my family's background is Irish and German. My grandmother moved here when she was 21 years old from Germany. During World War II, she's holding her best friend's hand. She was Lakin's age, and U.S. planes shoot down her friend while she's holding her hands. I can't imagine what I feel like. But when she came to America, she wasn't bitter. She loved this country. And she became a citizen a few years before she passed away. I remember helping her study for that test. She goes to Atlanta to take the test and to get sworn in as a U.S. citizen. And there's 50 questions that she studied for, and she studied for a year. These are hard questions, and most of you guys who were born and raised here don't even know how to answer these questions. And the guy takes her and asks her only 3 questions. She gets them right. He says, okay, let's go take you to get sworn in. And she says, no, 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 stop right now. I studied for a year. You can ask me every one of those questions. And she made that little man ask all the questions. Okay. This country creates opportunity for everybody. And most of us in this country right now don't take opportunity that's in front of us and leverage it to the highest level. Everybody on this call, we've got to do a better job being leaders in our community. We need it. Okay. The great part of martial arts is we get to impact our youth, and it is needed. It is needed. And I know that all of us here can do a better job of being respectful for the luck even of being in this country. And even if you don't agree with a political statement of somebody, right? Because nowadays all we do is we pick a red team and a blue team, and we don't even know what's going on. We just pick a team like it's a football team. But the reality is, I do know that we need more leaders in this country, and you guys on this call are those people. And not only does your family need it, or your business need it, or your staff need it, but your community, and then it needs to expand beyond that. And that means when you put that banner up that you're saying, hey, I'm going to fight for the ideas, right? I made a post, and I grew up in the South, and Martin Luther King Jr., it obviously is a powerful figure for our country, but in the South, massively powerful, right? And the man was willing to die for a belief. And he has a quote in there, and I say it kind of backwards sometimes. There's a couple things a couple of his quotes that are like my all-time favorite. Okay, one of them is, don't measure a man during the times of triumphs and success, but the true measure of man is in the time of defeat. Okay. But the one I posted is about, if a man doesn't have something that he's willing to die for, he's not fit to live. That's powerful when you think about it. If a man doesn't have something willing to die for, even a principle, and I am willing to die for the principle of what America stands for, even when I have detractors and haters out there, and you guys will have them too. So I would love you guys to have a business that you're impacting your community, and you do it through what you're great at, which is, if you're teaching martial arts, that is, pressure is a privilege. The pressure on you is you have a responsibility to impact your community at a high level. Okay. And I'll finish with this. And if you guys have questions, let's bring it up. And this is one of my favorite books. Oh, you can't see it right now. The Firelighter. So a lot of you guys bought this, right? And this is one of my favorite ones. Okay. I'm rereading this to myself this morning. It never lasts. A great workout never lasts. A great day never lasts. A big win never lasts. Just like a bad day never lasts. A tough loss never lasts. A setback never lasts. No matter what happens today, it's not going to last. So don't get too high on success or too low on tough times. Just keep working regardless. Now, the reason why I'm telling you guys this is kind of that don't measure man in the time of his success, but watch what he does in his time of defeats. Everybody on here, you're going to have someone die that you love. You're going to have a great day in your business. You're going to have a great day with your kids, a great day in your marriage. You're going to have tough days in your business. You're going to have tough days in your marriage with your kids. You're going to have defeats and losses. And the emotional intelligence that we all have, we have these roller coasters we go through. And you're human. You should feel them. You should lean into them. But 100 years from now, the things that we really freak out, get pissed off about in our business or in relationships or any storm you're dealing with, won't matter. Won't matter. And I'm not saying throw it all away and don't worry about it. I'm telling you is keep your eye on the big prize. When I say we need more leaders, we need more people who see the future even beyond who you are physically as a person. And so the pressure and the privilege that you have in your business is to make sure that we are preparing our staff to be better, even when they don't want to work hard because you've allowed them to have a standard of doing the bare minimum. That's on you. On them too, they should want more. But when somebody won't show up for a Zoom call to improve their life, that tells you a lot. When they don't show up a rock star, pay attention to the red flags. Because my gut has always been right, even when I didn't trust it. Great days don't last, tough days don't last. And so you're going to a holiday weekend. Hopefully you have some opportunity to spend time with family and friends. Hopefully you have an opportunity that even if you're pissed off about things that are going on in your country right now, take a pause and that someone gave their life for you to have the opportunity to even be pissed off. Some of you guys on this call served our country. And we are in a time, as the world speeds up through technology, I believe strong women and strong men are needed more than I've ever seen in my life. And I am concerned that we're not creating great, strong, competent warriors of the future. You guys have that opportunity, and that is a pressure and a privilege. So as you go into holiday weekend, recharge, you need it. Everyone here has been working your butt off. You do need that recharge, but keep your eyes on the big prize. And I'm hoping that this country and your community, whatever form of ashes they've been in, right, that we all rise together. And I know that we can do that by one kid at a time, giving our heart, giving our passion, going all in, and not just running a class, but literally being disciplined, starting hard, having a standard of discipline, having a standard of giving excellence to them. Personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion, because this country is actually resigning to the opposite of that. So when you celebrate tomorrow and over the weekend, whether you're on the lake, whether you're having some drinks, you're eating some hot dogs, maybe you're watching the hot dog competition. Hopefully they free Joey Chestnut. I'm not sure if they did or yet. Monday's coming back around the corner. You're going to have to get right back to the grind. And you want success, you do that by improving your product. You improve your product by improving you. And if you work for someone on this call right now, okay? Yes and no there, sir. I'll get to that in a second. If you're improving your product, you got to prove yourself. If you work for someone here, you should have the personal responsibility, because you should have someone in your life, aka you, that wants just to be a better human being. All right. So happy July 4th. Celebrate your independence. Be thankful you're in this country, and I'll open up for Q&A.